The world had always laughed at Ethan. Born into a poor family, he was ridiculed for his big dreams. Every time he tried something new, people mocked him. But Ethan had something that the world didn't see, an unshakable belief in himself. This is the story of how a so-called failure turned the tables on the world and proved that dreams, when chased with determination, can change fate. Ethan grew up in a rundown neighborhood where success was a distant dream. His father, Daniel, worked as a factory laborer, while his mother, Linda, took up sewing jobs to make ends meet. Ethan's elder brother, Jake, was a school dropout who had lost faith in life. At school, Ethan was different from the other kids. While they spent their time playing games, he spent hours in the library, devouring books about entrepreneurs, scientists, and visionaries. He wanted to do something big, but every time he shared his ideas, people laughed. "Ethan, stop dreaming. You're just a poor kid. Stick to reality," his classmates jeered. Even his teacher once told him, "Dreaming big is good, but you need to be practical. Look at your background." But Ethan refused to give up. When Ethan turned 15, he came up with an idea for an app that could help struggling students get free educational resources. He worked on it tirelessly, spending nights learning to code on an old laptop his father had bought from a flea market. Excitedly, he presented his idea in a school competition. The moment he stepped onto the stage, whispers filled the auditorium. "What's a loser like him doing here?" someone sneered. As Ethan spoke about his app, the judges looked unimpressed. One of them, a businessman named Mr. Crawford, chuckled. "This is cute. But do you really think someone like you can make it work? Business needs money, kid." The audience burst into laughter. Ethan stood frozen. His hands trembled as he stepped off the stage. His heart ached, not because he had failed, but because nobody believed in him. But deep inside, a fire had been lit. One evening, as Ethan sat alone in the park, an old man approached him. "Why so down, kid?" the man asked. Ethan sighed. "I tried, but they all think I'm a failure." The man, introducing himself as Mr. Bennett, an ex-entrepreneur, smiled. "Do you think Thomas Edison succeeded in one go? No, he failed 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. Failure is not the end, son. It's part of the journey." Ethan listened intently. Mr. Bennett saw potential in him and decided to mentor him. Over the next few months, Ethan learned about business strategies, networking, and resilience. "You don't need money to start, Ethan. You need persistence." And persistence was something Ethan had plenty of. Determined, Ethan revamped his idea. He reached out to students on social media and slowly gained supporters. He started small, offering free tutoring and educational content. His idea was catching fire, but not everyone was happy. His brother Jake mocked him. "You're wasting your time. No one's gonna take you seriously." Even his parents were skeptical. His father sighed. "Ethan, maybe it's time you focus on getting a real job." But Ethan smiled. "Just give me some time, Dad. I'll prove it to you." One night, Ethan received an email from a tech investor. His initiative had been noticed. "I see potential in your project. Let's discuss investment opportunities." Ethan's heart pounded. Was this real? He met the investor the next day, a young entrepreneur named David Sinclair. "I was once where you are, kid. Everyone called me a failure too, but the world only remembers those who prove them wrong," David said with a smirk. David decided to fund Ethan's project. Within months, Ethan's educational app was officially launched. It went viral. Schools started using it. Kids from underprivileged backgrounds finally had access to free education. The same people who had laughed at Ethan now praised him. His teacher, who once doubted him, invited him to speak at school events. One evening, a luxury car stopped in front of Ethan's small home. It was David Sinclair. "Ethan, it's time to expand. Investors are ready. Are you?" Ethan smiled. "I was born ready." As Ethan's company grew, the media covered his journey. Headlines flashed. "The boy who was called a failure now runs $1 million company." Jake, his brother, who once ridiculed him, now looked at him in awe. "I was wrong about you, Ethan. You never gave up," Jake admitted. Ethan patted his brother's shoulder. "We all learned, Jake. That's what matters." His parents, who had once worried about his future, now stood with tears in their eyes, proud beyond words. And as for Mr. Crawford, the businessman who had humiliated him years ago, Ethan was now in a position to buy out his company. But instead of revenge, he simply smiled and walked away. Winning isn't about crushing others, it's about proving yourself. Years later, Ethan's educational platform changed millions of lives. He became a symbol of perseverance. In an interview, when asked what kept him going, Ethan simply said, "I was never a failure. I was just a dreamer the world wasn't ready for, but I made them see." And with that, he walked away, strong, successful, and smiling. Moral of the story: dream big, and never let the world define your worth.